Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, everybody watching the show. We are starting in Tau Lodge here in Madikwe over in South Africa. Got some very thirsty zebra down at the watering hole here this afternoon. My name is Kerry Dupree, and I will be joining you for this afternoon session of Live at the Waterhole. What a lovely sunny day it is here in South Africa. Hopefully we'll get to see the elephants that have been roaming around in this sludgy, muddy water, feeding on this lush green vegetation. So yeah, folks, just a reminder that this is a live and interactive show. So please feel free to send through those questions and comments. Don't forget to use the hashtag. Head over to Twitter or X and use the hashtag @WildEarth, or you can also scan the QR code on screen now. Have those questions ready. I hope that you are having a fabulous Monday so far, and I hope you all had a lovely weekend. The weather's nice and warm in South Africa. We received a little bit of rain in some regions of South Africa over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday, but it is a nice sunny day today, although there is some lurking cool weather that does feel like it wants to come in around Johannesburg and KwaZulu-Natal. Looks like we've got a rather pregnant zebra on the left-hand side there. Some zebras look like they're about to pop. Nice harem here, probably two different family groups, and we also have some wildebeest. What a lovely afternoon. So nice to see the zebra here. So we've seen a couple of zebra down at the live at the waterhole last couple of days, but not so many. So it's nice to see a proper gathering of water of zebra down at the watering hole. Of course, when you get any kind of collection of zebra, you do always get a little bit of fighting. Like you can see in the background there, males can be quite nasty and aggressive with one another. Check if those males fighting there. General size of a harem of zebras, you're looking at on average anything between 2 to 5 or 6 individuals for one male. Obviously, when you do get the migration, they do all congregate in huge, big herds together. But generally, when they split off into their family groups, you just get smaller groups of, I think on average, it's only about 3 to 4 females to one stallion. Thank you for all the greetings today, Mercedes Benz. Greetings. A happy Monday to you all. Kim Faustino, I hope you have had a lovely day so far. Sounds like it's the evening, 6:30, where you are sending us your comments through from in the Philippines. So I hope you've had a lovely day, Kim. Fuzzy Dunlop, I am glad to hear that you are hoping for an elephant pool party. We did get shucks, we had elephants. Yesterday was an all-around elephants day. We had elephants all over the show. There was just elephants, and more elephants. So yeah, it was lovely to see so many elephants yesterday. Mud bathing, pool parties, feeding on vegetation. So yeah, lovely elephant day yesterday. And the zebra all having a nice zebra spa moment. Love zebras. So zebra are one of my favorite antelope. Awesome to watch the zebra. often they'll stand like this head to tail, nose to tip, nose to tail, and yeah, it's kind of helping to flick all the insects out of each other's eyes. So we did get a question about the zebra from Tuddy once, is asking about how can zebra camouflage if they are black with white stripes. So actually zebra have these stripes or wavy lines as well as shadow stripes. So in between the black stripes and the white they do have these shadow stripes, and they do actually blend in very well with the environment, especially in tall grass. So yeah, perfect for, especially because most predators are colorblind, so it can be very difficult, especially if zebras stand together. That's one of their biggest defense mechanisms. Is same with a lot of antelopes. Zebra will all kind of cluster and stand together in a group in order to protect themselves from the predators. The minute one individual is singled out, that's when predators do have a bit of an upper hand or a bit of an advantage. So yeah, very specially adapted to camouflaging into the environment. Looks like it's a windy day over in Madikwe. Very dusty. Hoping to find our crocodiles maybe today. That would be pretty epic to find those crocodiles. Some good birds today would be really good. I got my new Newman's bird app that I'm testing out. Bird by colors, definitely working really well. So if you'd like to get a 10% discount off on the Newman's Bird app, head across to our Twitter. There will be a link there with a code that you can get a 10% discount off of the Newman's Birding app, which is one of the best birding apps for Africa. Incredible birding app, definitely recommend. I am having a lot of fun playing around with mine at the moment. So we've got a female waterbuck also joining us at the watering hole. It's nice. We've had a couple of males and some females also at the watering hole, some waterbucks that have been coming for the green vegetation. So it's been lovely seeing them up close and personal as well. Let's have a scan, see if we can find our crocodiles. Doesn't seem like there's many elephants here today. I know yesterday it was super busy, lots of elephants around. We've got our common moorhen just on the right there. So we were talking about just now zebra and zebra stripes and how fascinating it is that they can actually help to camouflage zebra. So the camouflage that a zebra stripe offers is a camouflage in motion. So it's the dazzle motion, which kind of gives a bit of a hypnosis of movement. So while the zebras are moving together, it might not offer much protection for them when they're standing, but when they are moving together, it does work quite well as a camouflage in order to blend their stripes all together. Oop, there's another common moorhen there. Where are our crocodiles? Oh, there we go. Two little common moorhens we were speaking about, and I hope our black crakes are somewhere around. It's always lovely seeing these little water birds feeding, getting about their day. I love that bright red shield on the front of these moorhens' faces. These birds are getting out about their day, busy feeding. So just checking up some of the updates from our locations and the live safaris. Looks like Trishala has had a great start to her cycle at Mabulla. So Trishala is currently at Mabulla with Cameron. Great to see that they've had some pretty cool the ground hornbill sightings. Obviously, they have the Southern Ground Hornbill Research Project there. Very interesting. If you want to have a look on the Ground Hornbill Project at Mabulla, they do have a reintroduction program. So they've spent some time with the ground hornbill so far. And it looks like Trishada's also been privileged with the seeing the cheetah as well as a couple of brown hyena sightings already. So that's pretty epic. And bush pig. So yeah, sounds like Trishala has been on a roll the last couple of days. And we've got a waterbuck. Shame, look at this guy. He's trying very hard to get into this muddy patch. You better be very careful as to not get too stuck. So yeah, starting off at a bang in Mabulla. What epic sightings here. I'm trying to figure out if these sightings are all from one day. It looks like it was from Saturday's sightings. I don't know if any of our viewers have been watching the live safaris in the afternoons. I'd love to know what your favorite highlight is of the sunset safaris at Mabulla or any of the safaris. I know Lalamba and her cub, we had an epic sighting of Lalamba and her little cub came down for a drink yesterday. We had lots of elephant movement on Juma, of course. I wonder if there's any lion activity. Also some hammerkops. Nice to see the hammerkops around as well. But yeah, that little cub of Lalambas is definitely adorable. So Lalamba the leopard. Oh, I believe they also spent some time with Shidulu yesterday. So I think it was on the sunset safari yesterday afternoon. Eric and Paul managed to find Shidulu sitting in a nice open patch on a bit of a ridge. Figured our warthog friend is coming to give himself a little bit of a bottom scratch. Penelope Kenyon, terribly sorry to hear that you're still experiencing rain in northern KZN. Shucks, I can't believe you're still experiencing rain. We did get a little bit of rain Saturday afternoon in Joburg and on Sunday morning, but it was barely 5 to 6 mils of rain. It was maybe even 2 mils. It was a very little scattered shower. So crazy to hear that you are still experiencing rain in KZN. Yeah, crazy. Strange weather. To me, it's strange. I'm not too sure. Maybe all the weather changes we're having in our environment these days. This warthog is not concerned at all. He's found some grass, and that's all he's worried about right now. Hey, Mr. Warthog, you're not worried about the weather, are you? Fuzzy Dunlop. We are definitely trying to spot the crocodile, but maybe you've seen it already. We're having a bit of a pan around. We got a bit distracted by our little warthog friend. You can see where his muddy impression is on his back there, but I haven't seen the warthogs, crocodiles yet. Didn't see them yesterday either. I think their banks are kind of running out of space. Just watching our little warthog friend as he scurries about on the banks there, also coming to feed on the nice green grass. And let's have a scan to see if we can find our crocodile friend. Anywhere you can see all these slimy elephant marks, where they've been kind of moving through this muddy area. Again, our waterbuck friend is taking a very big gamble coming to feed here. So, yeah, Mr. Waterbuck, don't get stuck in that mud, otherwise he might become a feast for a crocodile. Looks like a young male waterbuck here. Hello, Mr. Waterbuck. Seems to be on his own. Corbus ellipsiprimnus is the name of the waterbuck. I struggle with scientific names, but yeah, this one never evades me. It's quite an interesting name, Corbus ellipsiprimnus, having to do with his elliptical horns. Oop, there's our little black crakes flying around. Variable in color, these males. So juvenile male like this can weigh anything between about 2 to 250 kilograms, a young male waterbuck like that. Love their shabby coats. Alrighty, folks. Why don't we head over to Albania and see if we can find any other wildlife over in Kenya. Oh, welcome everybody. One of our favorite cameras. It's been a bit unstable, our Albania camera, the last couple of days, so if we do link away randomly, please bear with us. I don't know why the signal has been a bit iffy recently. But yeah, nice big elephant bull slurping away at the watering hole. One confused zebra. Looks rather confused because it could be a male on his own. Looking a bit confused, the ears are flattened forward. And looks like we have a couple of elephant bulls also resting underneath the shade of that acacia tree. Ah, there's our zebras, friends. Also hope you're coming in for a drink. I know the elephants at this watering hole, because it is so small, can be a little bit territorial at times. So Billy is asking a question about if I have ever seen a crocodile hunting. So yes, I've seen crocodiles hunting. I've seen crocodiles catching fish a couple of times and almost caught an impala once. But yeah, impala was a little bit too quick. But yeah, awesome watching those crocodiles hunting, especially during the migration times. Oh, when all those zebra and wildebeest were crossing the Masai Mara River, and you get crocodiles. It's a crocodile paradise. The food is everywhere. Lots of zebras, lots of wildebeest, and yeah, just see crocodiles snapping up food left and right. Yeah, a lot of patience to see a crocodile making a kill at times, but yeah, if you're lucky on safari, you can see a crocodile making a kill, but it's not something I would say you see every day. It's quite a rare sighting. Check it out, zebra here. Very lovely, nice and clean. Also dying to come down for a bit of a drink. If this elephant will share his pan with them. Got quite interesting tusks, elephant bulls. The one tusk on the left-hand side is kind of pointing straight downwards, and the other one on the right has kind of got a bit of an arc to it. So it can be a very good way to differentiate and identify different elephant individuals. It's quite a nice big herd coming through here. The harem of zebras family is also known as the harem of zebra. So I was always wondering, if you have a look at these zebra here, they have very short manes over in Kenya. And I was always kind of wondering why it is that these zebra have short manes. So I did some, oh, check out this big elephant bull coming through. Whoa, that's a big guy. So the reason for these zebra here in Kenya having shorter manes is actually because can be due to the flies, the tsetse flies biting, and all the parasites and insects can cause them to get quite itchy and actually scratch a lot, and that can kind of cause some irritation with their manes from time to time. And obviously they can really allow groom zebras, so if they're itchy all the time, they will groom each other quite a bit. That can cause them to lose a lot of hair. They are very itchy, scratching themselves on a tree or a log. Oh, look at these guys. Yo, this elephant bull. He's quite a big guy, I must admit. He's not very tall, but he's very impressive. More like a short weight. I wouldn't say he's a heavyweight. If he was a wrestler, he'd definitely be like a heavyweight wrestler, but not in a very tall category. Hello, big boy. Penelope Canyon, I definitely, yeah, the water is definitely going down quite a lot in a lot of our locations. Why don't we have a bit of a quiet moment here to just watch these two gentle giants feeding on this watering hole here. Hopefully the zebra and the giraffe will come down for a drink as well. Alright folks, sorry our feed is a little bit unstable here, so we're going to head back to Tower Lodge before we get completely lost. Alrighty, so we're back at Tower Lodge here. We've got a pied crow in the background. So have a look at this zebra. Check how impressive that mane is compared to the zebras we've just seen over at Aldonio. So yeah, that's pretty much, if there's any viewers that have any other idea of why these zebra over in Kenya and Aldonio have shorter manes, please feel free to send through your suggestions or comments. But for now, the best kind of reasoning I can find behind that is because of the high amount of insects and parasites. Of course, zebras love to go, same as horses, love to go underneath kind of leaning trees or branches and give their necks a good old rub, same as their tails at time to time. So yeah, it's probably because of all the parasites, insects, and those tsetse flies. Man, don't know if anyone has ever been on safari with tsetse flies, but shucks, they can be quite a nuisance. Certain areas, lower Zambezi, in parts of Zimbabwe and Zambia, can be quite bad. Botswana, and yeah, so you need to be careful. Those tsetse flies. Okay, folks, I think we might have some visitors over at Founders Lodge. So let's go see who's popped out to see us and say hello to Founders Lodge. Good afternoon, our friendly rhinos at Founders Lodge. Isn't this a perfect angle? These guys don't have to worry about tsetse flies. The tsetse flies don't bother rhinos and elephants too much. Their skin is quite thick. Even ticks don't necessarily always have to worry too much about ticks. These bigger mammals, smaller animals, warthogs, impala, most antelope, ticks, and these small parasites can be quite a nuisance. The advantage of having nice thick skin like a rhino. What a lovely way to start the show today with some rhino. It's been great. Elephants, waterbuck, zebra. This is a very curious little guy. Of course, these are white rhino. You can see by their very square lips. The southern white rhino. Two different subspecies of white rhino. Southern white rhino and the northern white rhino. So rhinos are the second largest mammals on the earth after elephants. Big rhinos, white rhinos like this, can weigh anything between about 1,800 to over 2,000 kilograms. Or if you're measuring in pounds, that's about 4,000 to 6,000 pounds. Isn't that crazy? And they can measure up to about 1 to 1.8 meters or 6 feet tall. And when we're measuring the height of a lot of animals, we use shoulder height. Thank you for coming to visit us today at the watering hole, two little rhinos. It's a female and her sub-adult calf. So that calf, you're probably looking at about 4 to 5 years of age already. And you can kind of gauge the age of rhinos depending on the size of their horns as well. Adam, I agree with you there. Alrighty, let's head over to Victoria Falls. I think it's vulture feeding time over in Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe. Alrighty, folks. So it looks like we don't have too many customers at our vulture restaurant so far. Got some marabou storks roaming around, patiently waiting. There's 2 marabou storks here, patiently waiting for their lunch or dinner to arrive. And then we have the hooded vultures. So yeah, a very cool activity to do if you're in Victoria Falls. I think it normally starts at about 1 o'clock, the vulture feeding. You come and sit up on the main deck. This is a little feeding spot just near the big watering hole that they have here at Safari Lodge. If you're in Victoria Falls, make your way down to Safari Lodge midday for the vulture feeding, order yourself some cocktails and nice snacks, and yeah, they come out and feed these vultures here. And it's crazy to see how in a few minutes all these vultures are going to come in, and yeah, it's going to be complete chaos, should I say. So yeah, you get hooded vultures, marabou storks, obviously lots of white-backed vultures. I did see some Cape vulture on our last vulture feeding, so that was pretty cool to see 1 or 2 Cape vulture. They're a little bit bigger than the white-backed vulture, but generally similar size. And yeah, then after the vulture feeding happens, sometimes we even get warthogs coming in to scavenge on some carrion. So yeah, warthogs are omnivorous. They do scavenge on pieces of carrion. So yeah, get comfortable, folks. It should be starting any minute, and as soon as you see the very kind gentleman coming to feed these vultures, I will have a bit of a quiet moment so you can try and listen to the sound of the flapping of all the wings and the vultures coming down to feed. It's crazy how, even though they're feeding, it's quite quiet. You can pretty much just hear the sounds of their wings flapping in. And I'm sure these birds all know what time lunch is, probably gauging by the position of the sun. They'll hang around here, know that they're going to be fed. But vultures are incredible scavengers, and they do play a very crucial role in the ecosystem. They are nature's clean-up crew. They come in, consume carrion, dead parts of animals, and kind of help to prevent the spread of a lot of diseases like anthrax, rabies, and even cholera. They really are a very important part of our ecosystem. I think a lot of people take vultures for granted. I know they don't look too pretty, but they are a very, very crucial part of the ecosystem. So Rian, I agree with you there. It's crazy how these vultures know exactly what time they need to come down to feed. They all know lunchtime is near. So some vultures have very, very wide wingspans on average. These like between your hooded vultures to your cape vultures, they can have a wingspan between anything between 2 to 5, 10 feet in length. And this allows them to soar for hours without flapping their wings. They're actually not very good at taking off, and their landing gears, pretty much every landing for a vulture is a crash landing. But yeah, basically they use the thermals to take them up into the sky. So vultures are pretty lazy creatures. They wake up early, but they can only actually start flying once the thermals start. So generally, depending on the area and time of the year, thermals all start between about 9:30, 10:30. That's when you see the vultures all catching the thermals, like I guess waiting for your train, waiting to jump on your train. So thermal is a vulture's way of catching their train up into the sky so that they can soar and look out for food. Have very, very acute eyesight so they can spot any other vultures in the area. And now you know that if vultures are catching a thermal, it doesn't always mean they're feeding. So you must always look at the direction they're going. If they're flying up in a thermal, that means they're just trying to catch a wind. Whereas if they're actually kind of swirling and coming down to the ground, then if you're on your own self-drive, definitely go and investigate, see what's happening. But as with most parks, please do not get out of your vehicle. You might think that, oh, it's just some vultures at a carcass. Next thing you walk over and there's 3 or 4 hungry lions or full-bellied lions waiting for you. So please, just have a good look. I've even made that mistake a couple of times. Luckily, I haven't actually got out of the vehicle, but driven past a kill. I thought there was only vultures feeding, watched for a bit, moved on, came back a couple of hours later, and there were still lions around. So, yeah, it can be a very good indicator, especially if the vultures are not on the ground. If they're still hanging up in the trees, that can also be an indicator sign that the lions or predators are actually still around. That's why they are not feeding yet. They're all coming in. I do love how vultures land, though. They kind of like fly in with their legs down, and then as they land, they kind of have this like a bouncing, a little bit of a bounce. Boop, boop. So yeah, let's enjoy the vulture feeding, everyone. Wasn't that crazy to watch, folks? Awesome to see how the vultures just come in by the dozens. Shucks. That poor guy. I know we've had a few comments before, people saying, "Oh, the vulture restaurant waiter, does he never get? Does he not worry about the vultures?" So they're pretty afraid of him. He's yeah doesn't have to worry about much. Only once he leaves, then the vultures all kind of have a feeding frenzy. So yeah, I can see all the different species that have come in. Again, I was I always hope to see something like a lappet face vulture. Would be a pretty cool vulture for me to see here today. But I think we just had our hooded vultures coming through, and of course our white-backed vultures. So yeah, white-backed vultures are one of the more common vulture species. Um, in southern Africa, especially. Of course, most vulture species are um, either vulnerable or numbers are definitely plummeting. The conservation status on a lot of these vulture species is very much being monitored in every different region. So a lot of vulture awareness campaigns going on, and also a lot on game reserves. They're trying to make all these safe spaces for these vultures. For example, the power lines. I know there's a lot of projects to get caps on the tops of the power lines, so vultures safe caps so the vultures don't get electrocuted by the power lines. There's also in the watering holes, if there's water troughs on private game reserves, to have a bit of a stick in there as a leverage for the vultures so that when they come down to drink, they don't drown. But yeah, most of the kind of threatening factors to these vulture species, besides obviously what I mentioned before, power lines can be a big problem, habitat loss. Due to not having many nesting places. And these vultures, even though they don't seem like it, they are very sensitive when it comes to having to nest in very particular areas. So they like these big shady trees along riverbeds to nest in. And without these big trees, they don't have many places to nest. So that's one of the main reasons for obviously vultures populations declining. Poisoning is another one, so a lot of carcasses can be poisoned, and that can kind of, vultures are the first ones at a kill often, and that can sometimes end up negatively affecting the vultures and killing a lot of vultures. Also, obviously, a lot of pesticides, which might be unintended for the vultures. So maybe animals that have died on farms that might have been given bute or other kind of antibiotics, which then vultures then do are a secondary kind of victim to these very bad chemicals and stuff like that. So yeah, but lots are being done to try to protect these vultures. I know also lead poisoning is a very big factor, very much affecting these vultures. So what happens is in a lot of these vulture restaurants, if it's not a safe vulture restaurant and there's too much lead that these vultures are feeding on, it one starts to weaken the bird itself, the bird's bones and kind of immune system, because lead actually stays within your body. You cannot get rid of lead in your body, and it eventually too high trace amounts of lead in your body can be a negative effect. So the adults themselves will slowly kind of get weaker, but one of the biggest negative effects is when an adult that has been infected with too much lead, when they have chicks, the kind of shells are very soft, so the eggs can be very easily broken. If the egg shells are not too soft, and those kind of the chicks do hatch, those chicks, if they have too high amounts of trace lead within their systems, also have very slim chances of surviving because of the high amounts of lead in their body. So it's kind of just sticks into the bodies of these vultures and can cause quite a lot of damage. So but it is incredible to know the distances and kind of places that these vultures do all travel to. They're very resilient species, and they do have very crazy migratory routes. If you have a look on BirdLife South Africa on their website, you can actually go and follow some vultures and see where they have moved. I have recorded a few vultures myself on camera traps. If you ever see vultures with a ring or a number, try your very best to get a clear photo of that number. You can actually send it into BirdLife South Africa, and it's quite cool. They'll actually send you a whole history on the vulture and the map of where it's traveled. So yeah, these are all like civilian science projects that can really be helpful. So even like your birds that you go and check your bird lists, and if you upload them and bird lasser and all these little things that civilians can actually do on a day-to-day that really do help conservation. So I think I have tracked 5 or 6 vultures in the last 10 years that I've managed to get clear photos on camera traps or from my camera. And it was really awesome to see where these vultures had traveled. The one vulture came all the way from, originally had been collared in Kenya, traveled through Mozambique, spent some time in South Africa, back to Mozambique, back to South Africa. So yeah, really epic to see how these incredible birds traveled such far distances. Seems like the marabous have, yeah, there's only one marabou left here. I wonder if any warthogs are going to come in and also try and pick up on any scraps. Last time I've also had a vulture feeding here before where the vultures were actually fighting with the warthogs for food. Alrighty, folks, why don't we head back across to Founder's Lodge, see what's waiting for us there. Looks like a gloomy cold day in the Eastern Cape. Oh, okay, sorry, our camera's giving us a little bit of trouble, but definitely a lot of clouds looming, and we've got a beautiful big male giraffe that has come down to join us at the watering hole today. Very windy in the Eastern Cape, probably some of those winds also that's affecting the weather in KwaZulu-Natal. Hello, big boy. Isn't he beautiful? It's quite unusual, this big male giraffe. He is a male, but his ossicones are not that big. One is a different shape to the other. Must have been injured in a fight of some sort. Sally, I agree with you there. It's really fascinating how these giraffes bend all the way down in order to be able to drink water. Yeah, get into almost like a downward dog yoga pose. Definitely get their stretch in for the day. I can see his ossicone, the one on the left hand side, is a bit strangely shaped. Oh, looks like we've got another visitor here. What is this? Looks like a little blessbok. Oh, that's cool. We don't see blessbok every day on live at the waterhole. Isn't that cool? 2 young blessbok. Oh, couple. Looks like some youngsters. Just been from this last year, maybe a year old or just going on 2 years old. Interesting to see a new species, little blessbok. Love the colors of blessbok. They got such interesting colorations and they're very uniquely shaped horns. Very, very windy day in the Eastern Cape. We normally have some warthogs that also come to visit us at the pan here. It looks a bit quiet today. Alrighty, folks. It looks a bit quiet here at Farmer's Lodge, so why don't we head over to Milady Dam and see what else we can find at the watering holes today. Like we have some helmet guinea fowl here, giving themselves a very nice room. Probably came down to the watering hole for a drink. Now they're cleaning themselves up after probably what seems like could have been like a busy Monday. There's one juvenile in here, so when the youngsters, well, it takes some time for them to get that iridescent blue and red coloration on their faces. Generally between 8 to 10 months before they actually start getting any blue on their face. Otherwise, the youngsters, they look very cute. Baby guinea fowl are very cute, I must admit, for the first month or two, and then they go to almost like this very dark drab color, drab a blackish brown, and then yeah, it takes about a year for them to start getting their beautiful blue colors on their skin and neck. So that's actually the skin. They've got almost like a bald neck and head, and that's actually the color of their skin. It's not feathers, isn't that crazy? Helmeted guinea. Perfect prey species for a leopard. Just better be careful. Look out for those leopard. Leopard would love to eat a guinea fowl. Actually, small raptors and birds of prey also hunt and feed on guinea fowl as well. Wow, bigger bird of prey like the eagles or maybe like a sparrowhawk might also, if they have a chance to hunt a little baby guinea fowl, they'll definitely take a chance. Alrighty, why don't we head across to Tembe, folks, and see what's happening at Tembe today? Oh wow, we've got some great birding here at Tembe today. Look at our two brown-hooded kingfishers. And of course, that very interesting sound in the background are the southern masked beavers. That sound very busy building their nests. So beautiful to see these brown-hooded kingfishers finally. We heard them calling yesterday, but they've been evading us. So it looks like a male and female pair. Beautiful iridescent blue on the tip of the wing there and on the tail. And I love that red bill. So he'll be sitting there, bobbing his head up and down, looking and listening for any insects. Swoop down and catch a little grub or grasshopper. And we've got our woolly neck stork doing the same thing. Also looking for his afternoon snack. Lovely to see these woolly neck storks here. So it's looking pretty quiet this afternoon, but I must say Tembe has been very busy the last couple of days. Lots of elephant movement, elephant activity. You can see there's a lot of new elephant mud wallowing spots all over the show. But yeah, nice to see some impala also coming to feed in the nice open area on this nice green grass. So it is nice to see a Tembe, always quite refreshing to come to Tembe at the moment, see some greenery. Some of our other locations are very dry at this time. Alrighty folks, let's head over to Tower Lodge, see what else is waiting for us there. Ooh, looks like we've got a very impressive male kudu here. Check out this big boy. He's also come down to have a bit of a food feed. But quite interesting coloration, this male kudu. He's probably been rolling in the sand there. Well, look, he's more reddish than grey. Normally male kudus are more grey in color. Hello, Mr. Kudu. You do get the lesser and greater kudu, two different subspecies. This is the greater kudu we're looking at here. The lesser kudu is more common in East Africa. So greater kudu is the common kudu species that we see in most South African regions. Generally, they're originally from the mountains of southeast Chad to Ethiopia. But kind of as the divergence of the land changes and land reforms, they have then throughout the decades and years become more used to hanging out in drier areas in eastern and southern Africa. So in very dense thickets, woodlands, because they are browsers. So that's why it gives them perfect shelter to hang out in these very dense, thick areas. So they are quite restricted to these stony hill country areas where they have enough protection. It's incredible when you see a kudu, and sometimes as soon as they run into a thicket, they stand still because of those kind of lines, the traversing lines down their back, makes them brings their body very well into the background. And they are not necessarily always a water-dependent species, so they can go a couple of days without water. They do try and get as much moisture as they can from their food, so they're not extremely water-dependent. Sharks, check out that dust. Very windy and dusty and dry here in Madikwe. Alright, folks, let's head back over to Aldonio and see if our camera's going to be lucky in Aldonio. Oh, we've got some massive elephant bulls. It looks a lot sunnier than it did earlier. Having a nice bit of this afternoon splish splash. We've got some oryx that have also joined us here at the camera, so we're really enjoying when you do get a chance to come over to Aldonio. The camera's been a bit unstable lately. So, we've also got some eland coming to join us today. eland, elephant, oryx, zebra, and there was also some giraffe here earlier. I love how at Aldonio you have such a diversity of species coming to this pan. So epic. I was also often see our little rainbow agama, so a little lizard that hangs out in the rocks just close to the bottom of our screen here on the rocky edge of this pan. There's two secretary birds that frequent this pan quite a lot, so awesome to see. And I think there must be a jackal den close by, so I have seen quite a few jackal popping into this pan for a very random drink in the middle of the day. Jive Bunny, thank you so much. Yes, we definitely do always learn every single day. So much to learn, so much information out there. So thank you for watching the show, Jive Bunny. And Mindy Tila, sorry, excuse me for my pronunciation, Mindy Tilapu. Um, we do learn every single day, and I agree with you there. The more you learn, the more you realize that the less you know. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Every single day is a new day for opportunities to learn and gain new experiences and share information. So, yeah, folks, please always feel free to share anything if you'd like, any information, some memories you might have of these old Donio cameras. I'd love to know some of your favorite sightings at some of our locations, or some interesting animal interactions and behavior. For me, I love learning via seeing things. So yeah, you can scan the QR code on screen now to send through anything interesting that you would also love to share with me, because we learn every day. And for me, good books and of course the internet are always a very good source of information. But uh, for me, I learn so much by watching and observing wildlife and animals, because sometimes when people ask questions, you're not too sure, but you can always say, well, I'm not 100% sure. And the book says one thing, but I have actually seen something completely different. And that's what's so crazy and so special and unique about wildlife. So please feel free to send through any interesting observations, sightings, or wildlife facts. I'd love to learn from our viewers as well. And Penelope, I agree with you there. These elephants are surely being quite greedy of this pan here. Sometimes some of the elephant bulls are not fazed by other wildlife coming and drinking. Like I've got 7 different species all drinking from this pan on a photo once before, and there were some elephants in there. And other times you'll get 1 or 2 elephant bulls that are just like not having any company at all. Elephant bull on the opposite side of the pan. He's got rather interesting tattered ears. Have a look on his right hand side. So he's got quite tattered ears there. Very interesting key features that would help identify him and make him very unique. Lovely to see this oryx here, and very interesting to see. I think there's the wattle starlings, or actually, no, they're not wattle starlings. They are oxpeckers. They look like wattle starlings sitting on the back of that oryx. It wouldn't be the first time. I've actually seen red-winged starlings aloe grooming klipspringer before. So stranger things have happened. Thank you, Mr. Elephant, for letting some other animals come to drink. Jive Bunny, thanks for your comment there. Awesome to hear that you have seen Caracal here at Oldonio. Oh, I would love to see a Caracal. Whoop, the zebra got a bit of a fright. I've only ever seen Caracal once, and I was in at night in the pouring rain. So, yeah, Caracal, very rare species to see. Same in Serval. They're not, they're very shy. Oh, see the zebra getting a bit nasty with one another. See the bulls, the stallions. They can be quite cheeky. So another species besides elephant, zebra can also be quite greedy at watering holes. Oh, that one almost got a kick in the face there. There's some warthogs have also come down. On the other side of the zebra, there's also a warthog that's drinking at the water. So Mindy, thank you for your comment there about taking the experience of a guide or naturalist over what is in books. Again, I won't disregard information you find in books and on the internet. Again, a lot of very, very useful information, but a lot of this information we're still learning so much every day. And kind of new information comes about all the time, and new behavior especially. So yeah, sometimes there's no way that the people writing these books can have as much experience as some people who've been in the field for years and years and years or their whole lives. So yeah, sometimes personal experiences, you can also learn a lot from that too. So let's just enjoy watching these zebra. I think they're a bit of a few zebra grunts here and there. Let's enjoy watching this incredible view. Oh, we can finally see our little warthog friend. And I wonder, I would love to know what this elephant bull could tell us. Imagine the stories this elephant could tell us. So Talon, interesting observation there about this different angle of our camera. It definitely makes you realize how big elephants are. This big elephant bull here, I would not mess with him. Beautiful male. Check out this male eland. Oh, he is rather impressive. Really nice thick neck there. He's got that impressive gular flap. A little fur also between his head, almost in a V shape, which is quite interesting. So the males, you can see compared to the females, are a lot bigger in size. quite nice to see them so close up here. So again, we do get two species of eland in Africa, the giant eland, which also occurs more in kind of northern Africa, and these are the common eland, Trigolophus oryxus, Trigolophus oryx. And again, nice to see the male next to the female, so you can see just how impressive he is. So shucks, look at those shoulder muscles, a lot bigger in the shoulder and neck. Very, very strong neck muscles. Both male and female eland do have horns. You can see obviously the male's horns are a lot thicker, and yeah, he's got a lot more gray coloration in his shoulders and neck. So a big male eland like this can weigh anything between 800 to 900 kilograms, whereas a smaller female, just to the right, can probably weigh about 500 to 600 kilograms. So very big antelope eland, and of course, one of the predatory species would most likely be lion, a little bit too big for any other predator to try and take down. Now, our oryx friend is also trying to come in for a bit of a drink, poor guy. A lot smaller in size compared to the eland, this oryx. Now the oryx, kind of big males, oryx are only weighing about, maybe a big male could weigh anything between 200 to 300 kilograms at a push, compared to a big female eland that's weighing 300 to 400 kilograms, and of course a big male eland is weighing in at 800 to 900 kilograms. That is a lot of antelope right there. Very powerful antelope. Actually very good at jumping as well, eland. Very, very, very good at jumping. Not as good jumpers as with your kudu. So the kudus are very, very impressive jumpers, I must say. Yeah, kudus, even some electric fences, they can very easily jump over electric fences. And in some places, I've even learned to jump through electric fences. The kudu, very slender antelope. The oxpeckers are also having a great time here. Lots of antelope species for them to feed on. Looking for ticks and parasites. Alrighty folks, let's head across to Tower Lodge and see what else is waiting for us at one of our other locations. So we've still got our young waterbuck male here that I must say is looking quite scraggly. But I mean, he is on his own, he's a bit of bachelor, and he is walking through the mud. So he has every right to be a bit scraggly. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm looking at some of the vegetation here, and I can see almost like some wild basil plants. Isn't that cool? It's got the little white flower there. Obviously, lots of different vegetation in here. I've been trying to see if it's some grass, but there's also some reeded vegetation, and I'm sure there's also some wild basil in there, which I love the smell of wild basil. It is a beautiful smell of the African bush, and if you were around this watering hole, I'm sure you would smell it just because this water buck is moving across it. So what's lovely about wild basil is when it is disturbed and touched at all, it gives us very strong wild basil smell. So it's also known as a kind of a basil or a thyme, and it is a perennial herb. So it is found in many regions, obviously in Europe, Asia, North America, as well as Africa. And it does have a lot of similarities with the basil that we know from kind of the cooking industry, from the kitchen side of things. So very interesting facts about the wild basil. So it generally typically grows between 30 to 60 centimeters tall. It's generally a bit of a small squarish bush, and it is a family of the mint family. Nice little oval leaves with a slight hair to them. I don't know if this waterbuck would actually feed on the wild basil plant. I love to feed them, but sure they'd more be going for the grass that's in there. I think that would be the prime species. So I'm just having a look here. So the wild basil leaves are obviously edible, and I'll just say I do have that quite a strong minty flavor to them, commonly used in cooking, obviously, and also used in traditional medicine. So it has been used as a remedy to cure colds, coughs, indigestion, and headaches. So it is also used as an antibacterial or anti-inflammatory properties. And like I said, it's in a lot of African regions, it can be very uniquely differentiated from those little white leaves, especially in the rainy season. So probably the only reason it's growing here is because of this nice, wet, moist vegetation. And I'm having a look, and it doesn't look like this waterbuck is feeding on that wild basil. I think he's more going for the green vegetation around it. I think he's not feeling like a minty fresh flavor today. Yeah, quite some time, this waterbuck. Must be really having a great time. But again, I just hope that he doesn't get stuck in the mud. I wonder if there's any warthogs around, also coming for a great mud bath. There's some awesome mud rubbing posts around this pan too. We've had some quite good entertainment recently with the warthogs rubbing themselves. Really get into it. Where are our crocodiles? I'm convinced that either the crocodiles might have moved. Obviously, when water levels do drop, they can move from one pan to the other. So at night, they'll kind of walk across from one pan to the other, and they can actually cover quite a distance in kilometers, even over this rocky terrain, which is pretty crazy to think about. Oh, there's an elephant walking. Oh, but he's coming to feed. Shame, he must be very tired. Imagine how far that elephant has moved in order to come to this watering hole to feed. Shame, sometimes elephants can travel up to hundreds of kilometers in order to find fresh water. So, wow, he looks very dry as well, so I'm sure he's going to enjoy himself with a nice mud bath as well. Quite a nice big ball. I think he's got either very short tusks or only has a tusk on the left-hand side there. You can see the mirage of the very hot kind of sky or air that's around. It's very dusty here at Tower Lodge. A lot of sand clouds being blown across every now and then. This elephant was close, a shame. He's still got quite a way to walk. You can see there's a branch here, a very light colored branch. That's very much a sign of an elephant left over. So the elephant's probably been feeding on that like old branch of a tree and completely removed the bark. So yeah. Oh, got some warthogs. Is it some warthogs? Look, zebra also coming to join us on the left-hand side of the elephant. You see, very grey there, like a ghost walking through the African bush. We've got a little baby zebra with them as well. Isn't this little guy cute? I wonder if it's our baby zebra that got stuck in the mud a few weeks ago. It's a very little one, I must say. A little harem of just a few individuals. Probably also thirsty, coming down for a drink. Oh, and we've got some nice, some more water buck also coming down to join us. I think they've got the same idea as our young water buck male. Coming down for an afternoon green snack. I don't blame them. It's quite dry out there. So Victor, thank you for your question here about watering holes. So I'm not too sure how many watering holes they do have here in Madikwe, but most game reserves, especially if they're fenced, will have watering holes for the wildlife kind of scattered all around the place. I feel like as soon as you compromise an animal's normal migratory path or normal moving routes and passages, you do need to then supply them with water. So generally how a lot of these game reserves will work is that they will have a couple of either one or two or three big dams, or like at Mabula, it's actually pretty cool. At Mabula, they have one big dam at the top end of the property that flows down into two smaller dams. And then, of course, they have other watering holes along the way. But it's quite nice because you can actually follow that whole river system, like the whole gully. And as you just carry on following the gully, there's little pans along the way. So, yeah, it's very cool. You kind of especially if you have wildlife in these kind of areas like this, really need to make sure that they have enough water. Still no sign of our crocodiles. So Moonbeam Smith, we're still waiting for our elephant. It could be a smaller elephant. I mean, sometimes, yeah, when things are further away or on, especially on shorelines, I find size, depth perception, and size can be very easily confused. I mean, I have very easily confused warthogs with rhinos on a shoreline that was very far away. I must say, I was rather embarrassed. Um, but my clients did not notice and didn't have binoculars, so we just carried on. We couldn't get access to the shoreline anyway. So, but yeah, in very kind of open areas, especially areas like this where there's nothing to compare things to in size, one can very easily confuse smaller mammals with bigger mammals. But it was definitely a nice big bull, maybe not as big as we were expecting. But we've got some Egyptian geese that are also looks like they're feeding in one of the pans, like little dried up little puddles on that side. Lovely to just hear the sounds of the birds. Just relax, take it a bit easy. Sometimes I feel like we set way too high expectations for a Monday. I know Mondays can always be chaotic and crazy, and you always feel like you're running around like a headless chicken on a Monday and a Friday. But yeah, sometimes it's just nice to just listen to the sounds of nature and the birds around us and just realize that you are only a human being and you can only do as much as is in your control. So I do hope that everyone so far is enjoying their Monday, and I hope that you're not having too much of a manic Monday. Alrighty, folks, let's link across to Aldonio and see what other activity we can find over in Aldonio. Another helmeted guinea fowl, but I'm very curious what this bottom is on our left-hand side. So we've got a very big giraffe here, a nice big male giraffe. There's a very suspicious bottom on the left-hand side that I'm not too sure what he is. Maybe before our zoomy pans across, we can have a few guesses as to what bottom is on the left-hand side of our screen. I'm going to go with this, possibly a springbok. Anyone else? What until inside? Wait, oh, no, it looks like it's a gazelle of some sort. Could be the Thompson's gazelle. That would be a new one for me. I haven't seen too many Thompson's gazelle. That should be my, is it Grant's gazelle? I'm seeing too many gazelles here at Ordonio. I do know that Thompson's gazelle could occur in this area. I'm going to go, no, that's more in East Africa. Please, folks, if anyone has any idea what gazelle was just visiting us here at the watering hole, and a Grant's gazelle could be another option. Again, that's definitely more East Africa. Here he is. I think he's just come back. Horn formation was a lot more different than that of a springbok. So Moonbeam Smith, we're busy talking about the crocodile still. So they wouldn't hibernate. So the crocodiles will probably be moving from one pan to the other, especially in times when the water has dried out. In winter, crocodiles do kind of go into a bit of an estivation kind of mode where, not estivation, like a torpor state. Sorry, they go into a bit of a torpor state where their bodies do slow down. Oh, sorry, folks. Seems like we've had some trouble with our camera over in Old Donio. And looks like we've also got some springbok here in Ukukuyu over in Namibia. So we're just talking about crocodiles and how they go into like just a more topaz state. So when they don't need to move around and feed as much as they would in the summer months. But in the dry season like now, the crocodiles will be moving to larger water sources so that they don't get trapped in. Let's have a listen. I think there's a pied, a Cape Crow calling. Listening to the sounds of the blacksmith lovers also calling here. I love how the springbok come and have a nice dip in the water. The springbok here and the oryx do enjoy having a lovely swim. The ring-necked dove calling there. Yeah, must be a kind of a wasps flying around. Trying to figure out, folks, if anyone can help me with the name of that gazelle that we just saw in Kenya. I keep thinking for some reason it's a Thompson's gazelle, even though the distribution on my map is incorrect. Another one it could be is the Grant's gazelle, but again, yeah, it's probably very rare and unlikely that it would be in that area. So I don't know if any of our viewers have ever seen a Thompson's gazelle in Old Donio. I'd love to know what gazelles occur in Old Donio. I'm giving a Google now, but I'm not having much luck here. So please send through. Very similar to a springbok, but it was definitely a gazelle. So Jive Bunny, thank you for the update on the camera here. Apparently there's been breeding herds of elephants flocking into Old Donio here at this watering hole even at night. And there's apparently also were some lions at the watering hole about 3 days ago until yesterday, which is pretty cool at a Kikuyu. Shucks, that's crazy that there's been lions here. I would love to have seen some lions over at Kikuyu. Must say it is very lovely kind of setting, taking pictures of lions in Namibia. Always a very dramatic scene, dramatic setting. Lovely to see. Nice. Crazy how the sky over in Namibia is so clear compared to some of our other locations. We saw in the Eastern Cape, it looked like it was a little bit of a cold day this afternoon, a bit windy, a lot of cloud cover. Same at over in Albania, and Ukukuyu as well. The Oldonyo was a bit cloudy too. In Tembe, where it was a bit cloudy, seemed a bit windy as well. So yeah, and over in Namibia, it's not a single cloud in the sky. So yeah, springbok have gone into the water to have a bit of a splash. So Penelope Kenyon, thank you for your feedback there about that strange-looking gazelle. You mentioned it could be a Gerenuk. As far as I understand, a Gerenuk is a very similar-looking antelope to impala. Looks almost like a very long-necked impala. So I'm not too sure if it was a Gerenuk. Um, but again, I was getting a lot of good feedback for Thompson's gazelle. Again, I know the distribution is wrong, really right, but yeah, still checking up on that. But Gerenuk would be a very good good guess there. Let's have a look at the Gerenuk. Very strange looking antelope, I must say. If you have Google close by, I would definitely say give this Gerenuk a bit of a Google. I think the Gerenuk we would have definitely differentiated with the neck, and I think they mostly occur in East Africa, and that neck of theirs is very, very long, very strange, long looking, long necked antelope found in mostly parts of East Africa, and it is the only species of its genus that is actually left. Yeah, they're also very tall as well, very tall antelope. See a little bit of a breeze blowing the water in this pan here. So I'm going to go with the Thompson's gazelle. I think keeps coming up whenever I Google gazelles in Kenya. This Thompson's gazelle keeps coming up. Sorry, folks, it is a new species for me. So the distribution, I'm finding some new maps. This does seem like the distribution is in kind of in distribution for Oldonyo. Very beautiful, very much looking springbok looking antelope, but the horns are straight up as opposed to spiraled, just like with the springbok. So they're quite different, the horns, but the body does look very similar in shape and coloration to that in as with the springbok, and they are partially common in the Serengeti region as well as Kenya and Tanzania. It's got a very narrow habitat preference. It does prefer short grass within dry regions, so that's kind of why it's quite specific. So it's actually my first time ever seeing one, so pretty cool to be able to see a new species, the Thompson's gazelle, that we just briefly saw over in Oldonyo in Kenya. All right, let's go check out one of our other cameras in Lento over in Kenya, see what birding we can get there. Oh wow, we've got some beautiful zebra that has come down to the watering hole, also coming for a drink. Aren't you zebra beautiful? Lots of pregnant zebra at the moment as well. I must say, I do love how zebra are all uniquely striped and have their own special patterns, stripes, and colorations. Isn't it special? It's like a fingerprint. Oh, and that sounds like a lilac-breasted roller that just flew up into this tree, making quite a ruckus. So zebra do also prefer to hang out in grassland areas with very tall grass, which is wavy, and again adding to their camouflage tactics. That's what might also help them to blend in, is that tall, grassy environment that they like to hang out in. And also, there's actually been a new study with zebras, which I believe it's quite a big break in the equestrian industry as well. So they do believe that this black and white coloration of a zebra actually helps to deter flies. So researchers have recently kind of found out that zebra stripes may have evolved to reduce bites from blood-sucking insects like horseflies and tsetse flies. Quite interesting. We were chatting about horseflies and tsetse flies earlier, and zebras, and that's why some of the zebra over in Oldonyo in Kenya have very short forelocks and manes. Is possibly because the high amount of tsetse flies that they get bitten by, they get very irritated, go and scratch on a tree, and end up scratching a lot of the mane and fur, as well as when they groom one another. So the stripes seem to confuse insects and make it harder for the insects to land on a zebra. I do know you do get sweat blankets for horses that are zebra striped, very popular, and apparently are very efficient in deterring parasites. How cool is that? Imagine seeing a horse wearing a zebra striped sweat blanket. So shucks, Jive Bunny, it sounds like you spend quite a lot of time watching the cameras, I must say. Well done. You're a little African camera ninja, spending time checking out the cameras, seeing what's out there. So thanks for picking up on the caracal. Seems like you had a caracal sighting last night, a very skittish caracal at this Mentore camera in Kenya. So shucks, well done for spotting a caracal. Chucks, you've seen caracal at two of our Kenyan locations, which is pretty amazing, I must say. Like I said, I have many times on camera traps, but it's very rare to actually see a caracal like in real life, should I say. But be a nice place for a caracal while out and about hunting at night to come and pop in here for a drink. So this last looks like a female that's possibly pregnant. She's not keen on leaving. Maybe there's not too much water close by. She wants to stay here and have a good drink. I know at this location here, Lintore, Kenya, it's very good for birding. Just have to listen, see what other birds we can hear. Some very cool firefinches and waxbills I've seen here previously before. And also go out about from the bumble, going to find some nice grass to munch away at. having a bit of a scan, see what else is out there. Maybe we can get some more birds. I know these, there we go. Oh, so these are thick acacia branches that are close to the water, a perfect place for our little waxbills to come and drink down at the water, so that it protects them from any birds of prey. So if there's a little sparrow hawk of some sort lurking around in this area, and these little waxbills are in the open, it makes it very easy for them to become prey to a bigger bit of prey. So become a little afternoon snack. So by coming down to the water and feeding underneath these thorny branches, it kind of forms a protective layer for them and a safe place for them to come and drink. So I think they have firefinches of some sort. Very beautiful. So the males are a lot more red in color, and the females are kind of just have a little bit of red here and there. It's beautiful watching these little birds come down to drink. So you'll see waxbills will often nest in also in thorn bushes. Buffalo thorn is a perfect place for little waxbills to make their nest. So they'll make their nest from very thin and fine pieces of grass, like love grass is a perfect species for waxbills to make their nests from, and they'll make it in a very thorny, thick area, and again, that's to protect them from the bigger birds of prey. The smaller you are, the more bigger predators you have that want to eat you. If you're a little waxbill. Such happy little birds, aren't they? Drive Bunny, definitely agree with you there. I do love these beautiful little firefinches here in Mentore over in Kenya. It's lovely. We've been able to stay on this camera for quite some time. Sometimes the feed is a bit unstable, so we often have to jump away. But this location would be perfect. It's almost at exactly water level. Imagine you could get a picture of that caracal at night, water level, from this hide, drinking on the other side of this bank here. Perfect place to come in. I love walking on these little pans and watering holes, checking in the mud here, walk along the edges, have a look on the mud, look for some fresh tracks. There's some butterflies here. So yeah, mud is the perfect place to look for tracks of predators. I love finding leopard tracks, always super exciting. Small predators, cheetah, brown hyena. It's always really exciting to go and read the bush newspaper and see what's been moving around. Looks like we've also got some white-browed sparrow weaver nests up in the tree over there, so up in this acacia tree. So it's not a little bit bigger than what a firefinch nest would look like. So firefinch nests are the same kind of scruffy nest as a white-browed sparrow weaver, but again, a lot smaller, a lot more fine nest-building materials, and of course in a much lower buffalo thorn or a thorn tree of some sort. What else is roaming around? Maybe our caracal friend will jump out and come to visit us for the end of the show. Nice little mud wallowing spot for some warthogs to come by. Looks like a really nice shady pan, this one, I must say. It's hard to get a watering hole that has trees around it. Can give you some nice shade. Doesn't look like there's too many elephants that frequent this pan, which sometimes can be a good thing, because when there's too many elephants, then it doesn't always allow for too many other little species to come and feed. Alrighty, folks, let's head over to Albania and see what else is waiting for us over in Kenya. Oh, so we've got a nice impala ram that's also come down to the watering hole. So see, the sun is out. We're talking about those looming clouds. Oh, I wonder if Kenya is going to get some rain sometime soon. I know that James is currently in Kenya with one of our biggest fans, Catherine. I hope that they are having a great time in Kenya. I know they had some really good cheetah sightings, so that's awesome. Cheetah in the rain, actually. Maybe they will receive some rain. Yeah, very strange. I wonder if that's normal for this time of the year. Yeah, helmet of guinea fowl is coming down. Yeah, we've had helmeted guinea fowl at 2 locations today, so it's been really lovely to see the helmeted guinea fowls around. You always gotta love the guinea fowl, those white spots. And from Eland also coming to join the show. So you see, when there's not so many elephants around, I love how the other animal species, birds and smaller antelope and big antelope, can all finally get a chance to come down to drink. Whereas if there's 1 or 2 elephants taking up the watering hole for 2 or 3 hours, well, there's not so much space for other creatures to come and also enjoy the watering hole. Alrighty, folks, let's head back over to Victoria Falls and see what our vulture are up to. Oh, it's a natural whale vulture, but we've got some marabou storks that are having a great time. Obviously, had already enjoyed their vulture restaurant buffet. Now, yeah, it's quite common after vultures, especially marabou storks, have had a good meal. Just like all of us like to come down to the watering hole for a bit of a drink, and then they give themselves a nice afternoon grooming session. Sorry, folks, seems like we had some little challenges with our camera over in Victoria Falls. So we're now back in Tembe Elephant Park, and it's very strange. We have not seen a single elephant today at Tembe. Isn't that unusual? But again, look at those lurking clouds. It's like some cumulonimbusy clouds, a little bit of grey to them. Maybe there's some rain around. Our southern masked weavers were very, very vocal earlier. Shucks, you could almost not even hear anything at all. Crazy. Alrighty, folks, let's head across to King's Camp and see what else we can find before we finish the show today. So we've got a grey heron on the left-hand side that looks like he's in hunt mode. And then we've got 2 Egyptian geese that are very sneakily poking their eye through this crevice of the tree. Again, it looks like, I wonder if we're in for some rain in some of our locations in South Africa today. On the Vati, maybe we're going to get this grey heron making a kill. It's all patience of all the waiting game. Looks like a juvenile grey heron. He hasn't got his full adult colours. Come on, little guy, good luck. Get yourself a nice afternoon fishy snack. We're wishing this heron all the best of luck. I really, really hope that he manages to catch himself a snack. See, generally they'll look out very kind of intently and weave their necks from side to side if they're going to make a kill. Maybe if we're lucky, we've got a few seconds before the end of the show. I hope this guy makes a kill for us. That would be pretty epic to end the show, I must say. All right, folks. Well, while we carry on watching this guy, I hope that we catch him before the end of the show. It has been a lovely afternoon. Have a lovely Monday. Hope it's not too much of a manic Monday for all of our viewers. I look forward to joining you tomorrow. Have a lovely day.